Today we're working on comparing units of time. In this assignment, you'll be given two different time frames and you'll be asked to tell me which one is greater or least, or are they equal. To be able to do this, you'll have to have a star reference chart handy. Underneath this video, you will see a picture of a star reference chart that you can use to help you with these types of questions. So let's look at number one. Number one says, drag the comparison symbol to the statement to make it true. So you have 72 hours and 3 days. The easiest way to do this is to change your biggest unit to your smallest unit. So the first thing, so if you look at hours and days, we all know that days are bigger. Days are a longer frame of time. So we're going to take our days and we're going to change them to hours. So how I'm going to do this is we are going to create a T-chart that looks like this. And we're going to put what we are given on the top. So we're given 3 days. And we don't know how many hours 3 days is, so I'm going to put a question mark over here. If you look at your star reference chart, you know that 1 day is equal to 24 hours. So over here, I'm going to put 24 hours. Now, if you look at your T-chart, the way that helps me remember what operation to use to find the answer to how many days or how many hours is 3 days is if you look and the two numbers you have, so I have 3 days and I have 24 hours. If they are across from each other like this, they make an X, so I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 24 to figure out how many hours 3 days is. So 24 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12, so 2 goes down here, 1 goes up here. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So 3 days is equal to 72 hours. So in this comparison statement, I would drag, so I would take my mouse and I would be able to take the whole box with me and drag it over here. It's not going to let me. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to put an equal sign in your box or in your circle to show you that these two are equal. Let's look at your next question. Your next question says 240 minutes and 3 hours. So if you remember, you're looking at minutes and hours and you're trying to figure out which one is the biggest unit, which is an hour. An hour is 60 minutes, so our hour is a longer span of time than 1 minute. So we're going to take our hours and we're going to change them to minutes. So again, I'm going to draw a T-chart and I'm given 3 hours. And I don't know how many minutes that is yet, so we're just going to put a question mark there. I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes if I look at my star chart. So again, like I said earlier, if the two numbers that you're given are across from each other, they will make an X, which tells me I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply 60 times 3 to figure out how many minutes are in 3 hours. 0 times 3 is 0. 3 times 6 is 18. So there is 180 minutes in 3 hours. Okay, now we can go back and compare which one is greater, 240 minutes or 180 minutes. And 240 minutes is greater than 180 minutes. Therefore, 240 minutes is greater than 3 hours. Your next example, 8 weeks, 56 days. So we're going to take your 8 weeks because it is your larger unit. Your weeks are larger. And we're going to change it to days. So same thing, same process. We're going to create a T-chart. And we're going to say 8 weeks. We don't know how many days that is yet. That's what we're trying to find. 1 week, if you look at your star chart, is 7 days. Okay, and again, the two numbers that you're given are across from each other, so they make an X. So we are going to multiply. 8 times 7 is 56. So in 8 weeks, there are 56 days. So 8 weeks and 56 days are equal. Your next example is 5 minutes and 400 seconds. Well, you know that 5 minutes is a larger unit than seconds. So I'm going to change my 5 minutes to see how many seconds there are. So I'm going to create a T-chart like I've been doing. You have 5 minutes. And I don't know how many seconds that is yet. You know that 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. And again, they are the two numbers that you're working with are across from each other. They make an X. So I'm going to multiply 60 times 5. 0 times 5 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. So 5 minutes is 300 seconds. So if you go back and you want to, sorry, that should be seconds. And you want to compare them, you're comparing 300 seconds to 400 seconds. And 300 seconds is less than 400 seconds. So 5 minutes is less than 400 seconds. Okay, your last example is 12 months and 40 weeks. We're trying to figure out which one is greater. So you know that a month is longer than a week. So we're going to change your 12 months into how many weeks. So I have 12 months. I don't know how many weeks that is yet. 1 month is 4 weeks. Okay, so now, just like we've been doing, they are across from each other. Your 12 and your 4 are across from each other. So we're going to multiply 12 times 4, which is, if I multiply 12 times 4, or times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4, so 12 months is 48 weeks. Okay, so if you're trying to compare 12 months to 40 weeks, 12 months is greater than 40 weeks. Okay, your password for this week is dog. work on problem solving with time. Our first example says that Janet's piano lesson starts at 4:30 and ends at 5:15, and it's asking how long was Janet's piano lesson. The answer is 45 minutes. The best way to solve, you'll see over here, is using a number line. The first thing I would start out doing is looking at your start time, which was 4:30, and I would start to see if you can count by the hour. So if I count 4:30, to add 1 hour would be 5:30, but you see that it ended at 5:15, so I can't use an hour. So the next thing I would do is drop it down, and I would see, can I count by tens? Well, I can count by tens and go from 4:30 to 4:40 is 10 minutes. From 4:40 to 4:50 is 10 minutes. And then from 4:50 to 5 o'clock is 10 minutes. 5 o'clock to 5:10 is 10 minutes. So that's a total of 40 minutes. And then from 5:10 to 5:15, that's 5 minutes. So 40 plus 5 is 45 minutes. If you look at our next example, it says John's baseball game started at 1:05 on Saturday afternoon. The game lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes. What time was the game over? So I'm going to draw a number line. And I started at 1:05. Okay, and then it says that it lasted 2 hours. Well, 1:05, and then I can have 1 hour would be 2:05. And then 2 hours would be 3:05. And I still have 45 minutes. So if I add 5 plus 45, my answer is 350, because 45 plus 5 is 50. So your answer for the time that his baseball game ended was 350. Your next question says, Lisa ran errands with her mother. They left the house at 1:40 to go to the post office. They also went to the grocery store and the library. They got home at 3:25. How long did they run errands? So again, you draw a number line. They left at 1:40. And this time you're given what time they got back. So they got back at 3:25. So the very end time is going to be 3:25. So if I count from 1:40 to 2:40, that's 1 hour. So 2:40. This whole thing is 1 hour. And I can't count. If I try to go from 2:40 to 3:40, that's too much time. So I'm going to count by tens. So 2:40 to 2:50 is 10 minutes. 2:50 to 3 o'clock is 10 minutes. So that was, so this was 10. And I'm just going to put an M. So 2:50 to 3 o'clock was also 10 minutes. 3 o'clock to 3:10 is another 10 minutes. So that's 10 minutes. And then 3:10 to 3:20 is 10 minutes. And then you have that last from 3:20 to 3:25 is 5 minutes. So now you have a total of 1 hour, and you have 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 40 and 5. So that would be 40 plus 5 is 45. So they were running errands for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Your next example says Aaron walks his dog each day for 1 hour and 10 minutes. He starts his walk at 3:40. What time does he finish his walk? So again, you're given a start time of 3:40, and you're told that he walks his dog for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So if I go from 3:40 and I add an hour, that's going to give me 4:40. So that's 1 hour. Okay, and then I can't add another hour because that would be 5:40, and that's way too much time. So I'm going to count by tens until I get to that extra 20 minutes that he still has to walk. So from 4:40, if I add 10 minutes, gets me to 4:50. And then adding 10 more minutes, so your whole time, 1 hour and 20 minutes, gets me to 5 o'clock. So he walked his dog until 5 o'clock. So your solution would be 5 o'clock. The next question says, Samantha gets out of school at 3:10. It takes her 35 minutes to walk home, 15 minutes to eat a snack, and 45 minutes to do her homework. What time will it be when Samantha finishes her homework? Okay, so the first thing I would do on this one is I'd go through and I'd look at all the times that it took her to do things, and I would add all those together to figure out how much total time she spent doing all of her activities. So it says that she spent 25 minutes walking home, 15 minutes to eat a snack. So I'm going to add 25 plus 15. 5 plus 5 is 10. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So that is a total of 40 minutes so far. And then it says she takes her 45 minutes to do her homework. So I'm going to add 45 minutes. 0 plus 5 is 5. 4 plus 4 is 8. So she spent a total of 85 minutes doing all of her activities. So she started at 3:10. Here's your number line. You could, if you knew that an hour was 60 minutes, you could say, okay, 3:10 to 4:10 is 1 hour. But if you did not know that 60 minutes was an hour, you could count by tens like we've been doing. So I could say 3:10 is when I started. Plus 10 would be 3:20. So that was 10. Plus 10 more would be 3:30. Plus 10 more would be 3:40. plus 10 more would be 350. Plus 10 more would be 4 o'clock. Oops, the 10 should go up here. And then this should be 4 o'clock. Okay, 10 more. So far we've done 50 and we need 85, so 60. So 10 more would be 410. And I'm gonna do another number line down at the bottom. And I'm gonna start at 410. Plus 10 more would be 420. Okay, so right now if you count, we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then 80 would be, if I added 10 more, would be 430. And then remember we have that extra 5 minutes. So if I add 5 to 430, then I have 435. So your answer for this one is 435. Okay, your next question says Tyler watched. I'm going to erase all this real quick. Tyler watched a movie that lasted 2 hours and 35 minutes. The movie was over at 7:30 p.m. What time did the movie start? Okay, so this one, you ended at 7:30. And we're trying to figure out what time it started. So if I go backwards an hour, so go backwards to find start time, and this is 1 hour, this whole thing is 1 hour. Okay, so 7:30, 1 hour before that would be 6:30. And he watched it for 2 hours. So going backwards another hour would be 5:30. So that's another hour. Okay, and then he watched for 35 minutes before that. So I'm going to go backwards by 10-minute increments. So I'm going to start from 5:30 and go backwards 10, which gives me 5:20. I'm going to start a new number line down here. So here's 5:20. I'm going to go backwards 10 minutes, which gives me 5:10. So far we've gone backwards 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And I need 35 minutes. So I'm going to take another 10 minutes, which gives me 5 o'clock. And then I still have an extra 5 minutes. So 5 o'clock and then backwards 5 more minutes is 4:55. So he started his movie at 4:55.